Welcome to the Recruiter Startup Podcast. I'm joined here by the one and only Ken Harbourne. How are you?
I'm great.
Ken, you were one of the first people to reach out to me about 5 years ago. I was in Canada. You said, would you consider a job back home? And I said, I've just set up a rec to rec. And you said, let's jump onto a call. I need people right now.
That's right.
That, we've placed a couple of people with you over the years, and it's been really great to follow your journey. Was that part of your strategy when Ireland was still not in boom time? Were you looking at who were the talented Irish recruiters abroad and can I bring them back?
Yeah, I mean, I've always had the same formula. Well, sorry, I didn't always have the same formula. Where I used to work for the US PLC, Robert Half, my formula was, I have a job to fill. It's very niche, so I'd go off and try and find a recruiter for that specific type of, part qual accountant to hire. But my attitude is completely different, and it's been the same since I started Wallace Myres. So the philosophy is just find really good people. Find what they're passionate about. If they're keen on whatever they're doing, and they have a track record in billing, and they're up and coming. In terms of their career trajectory, and they're nice, normal human beings, which is a really critical element for me. Well, then let's see, can we make it work? So it doesn't matter whether they're coming back from Canada, Australia, in the local market. If they fit that bill, my attitude
normal
is,
for a recruiter, you mean?
Well, no, we're all eccentric, we're all crazy, right? So you have to be, 20 years doing this, so I'm a bit touched, like a lot of people, but not crazy as in not culture ruiners. So people who are going to add value, what I call energy givers.
Yeah. So what's become apparent from our trip to Dublin is we feel we're at the top of the market here.
Yeah.
In terms of boom, in terms of salary, in terms of like the scrap for a lot of average talent, the scrap for exceptional talent is almost impossible. And people are paying astronomical amounts on rent, and it feels like we're back to pre-recession days, where can it continue like this?
I mean, it can continue. It's not going to. It's going to change. I don't know when. There's a lot of rumblings now that things are changing as we speak, but it doesn't matter to me. Never has. Yeah. I mean, it's always a flip side. I started off in 2010. The world was ending or had ended. So tougher to build a business in theory. But you get I bought this building and the building next door, so I took advantage of the market climate and got property at a much better rate than you can now. So I'm paying a lower mortgage for this, whereas someone's probably paying skyrocket rent if they set up 4 years ago. So it's a quid pro quo, really.
Do you feel given that you're more prepared if the market does turn compared to maybe some of your competitors?
Well, yeah, I mean, naturally fixed costs the biggest cost in any recruitment business is staff. So if you've got people who have long-term focused businesses, so either that's temp and contract, which keeps you alive. I mean, I've been through a couple of these cycles. So temp and contract protects you. Long-term relationships with multiple clients protects you. If you're in one industry doing one thing and you've only a handful of clients and it's a niche area, you just got to watch out and protect your future-proof yourself.
Yeah, like the oil and gas clients in 2015.
Yeah. But we were financial services, and professional services in 2008 in Robert Half, and we were destroyed. It was literally a tap turned off. Doesn't matter how good the billers were. Nobody was hiring. Everybody was letting people go. So I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. The market just killed you. So it's important to diversify. Yeah.
Do you know, I was thinking the other day from a lot of the Irish guests that I've had on, a lot of them have come from working for Niall Hamill or his brother, and you're from that same
That's right, yeah.
That same thing. And then there's lots of guys who come from working for you and have gone out on their own as well.
Yes, yeah.
There's really one degree of separation in the Dublin market, right? Yeah. Even if you've moved around the world.
Yeah. I mean, the key thing to all of it is, look, if you appreciate a good leader, if you work for somebody who's good, you learn from them, And if you're knocking around a while, that reputation, it is a tight-knit group. Those who are ethical and strong and all of that, and those who maybe go off on a curve and sort of burn everything on their way out, you know. So I'd recommend the former, you know. But yeah, it's great. It's a small community. I'm quite insular, actually, where I used to be literally at every networking event you could imagine back in 2008 or beforehand, where I'm the opposite now. I just focus on our clients, delivering to our clients. I'm very hands-on, so that's, you know, I'm not sort of out there being Mr. sort of speaker at events. I don't really do that. We do a bit of charity work now, but that's a separate thing. So I'm very much focused on just working with clients, billing and delivering. Also gets me out of bed. Also helps the culture in here. You know, if they see me sort of billing more than they are, and I've got 10% of their time, they're kind of saying, well, you know, I think I can do this.
Have you any recruiters chipping at your heels, catching you up in the office in terms of billing?
Yeah. I mean, last quarter, one of the guys, sort of pit me to the post. But that's good. That's what you want. You want that. You want people. And absolutely in the past, I mean, there's people build, you know, more. So it depends on your stage of growth, what you're going to do. I mean, you know, as you get bigger, you need to actually step back and focus on strategy a little bit more. But the flip side of that is it just adds to your stress levels when it's just about people and it's not about clients and candidates. So I think it's a balancing act.
I can tell you're always on. If I send you an email, I get an email back real quick. Yes, no, interested, not interested, thanks.
Yeah.
That intensity,
Yeah.
Are you able to transmit that to the rest of the route? Are they aware of it straight away?
Look, I'm utterly convinced, both in my head and just seeing it, that mini-me is a reality, you know. So, you know, mini-me, people become, you know, the person they're reporting into most of the time. I mean, it can happen where someone grows organically, but really, if anyone who's moldable and who's interested in being successful, if you're looking at someone who's doing really well, doing it correctly, you know, etc., you kind of just morph into it. It's kind of like osmosis, but it works really well. So yeah, absolutely, 100%, yeah.
What do you look for? I think we've placed two very good people with you. You mentioned people on the way up.
Yeah.
Does that mean you think that you can get people are better when they're moldable as opposed to maybe somebody who's kind of a bit more set in their ways? There's
kind of a couple of types of person. There's definitely the majority of people that come in here are sort of a couple of years experience. We don't really take rookies in, we take people with experience. They know what they want out of life. They don't necessarily know how to get it. They haven't filled in the yellow brick road just yet, but they're very clear on what they want. They've got a clear idea what they're going to do with the money, what they want to retire on, or you know, something that they're clear on. And typically when I meet them, I sort of have an opportunity and shine a torch on a path that sort of shows them how to get there. They got to do all the heavy lifting themselves, but yeah, so those people stick it out. Like, you know, a couple of people you place, they're doing really well over time. The secret to getting tons of money and being very successful and placing a lot of people and being a top recruiter is actually longevity. You know, that's the secret. So there's no quick win. Sorry. Well, there are. You can place one here or there, but in terms of being sustainably successful, really successful, elite successful, it's about deep roots, sticking in a market for a long time, knowing your stuff. So people who, to go back to your question, people who really know what they want. Tend to stick it out to the bump. So when those in-house calls are coming in, when other recruiters are ringing them, it's not even a thought, even though they might be having a bad day, because they know they're on course, they know they've something to do. It's the guys that don't have that fall off the bus. So I look for those people who just know what they want. But category B is a little bit different. Category B, like we've hired a couple of people who just know their market really well. Maybe they're an older profile, or they're just more experienced. They come in and they understand their business. So they come in and actually set up a business unit here, and that's a completely different thing. But they still know what they want, but they're sort of molded in one way. And
Elaine from Barton had similar things to say on that. She called it the partner model. In terms of doing that, they come in under a completely different agreement. Do you keep them all under the same banner?
No, we're I like everybody the same. Everybody knows not that that's not transparent, I'm sure, but I like transparency. I like parity, and I like clarity. So and people enjoy clarity and transparency. People want to know. But importantly, everybody, whatever we do, it's in line with everyone else's career development. So we don't bring someone else over someone else, unless that's what they want or that's what they need. So if everybody's continuing on their journey and can still get there, then if that complements that, whatever comes in, that's important to me.
When you look at your week, how much of your time is spent on building your own business and recruiting?
It's a good question. It kind of varies. I mean, I meet certainly 3 to 4 recruiters a week for potential recruiters for here. So we kiss a lot of frogs, but that's part of nature. And some people it's not for us and we're not for them and all of that. But it's important to meet a lot of people. So that takes up a chunk of my time. We don't have meetings really. We've reduced the meetings down to, we have a team meeting every Monday. That really is an us and a we. And what allows me to bill and have the time to bill is that everybody sort of takes responsibility for stuff here. It's all in line with the strategy, but people take responsibility for training newbies if they're coming in, making sure they're okay. Someone else owns the employer brand piece where they're advertising. And when you give people responsibility and it's something that they enjoy rather than throwing it on them, and not just, everyone wants to do the social club, but that's important too. So I think it's my time, I've a lot of my time I can bill because other people are doing other things in the business.
And do you use like any NED services or anything to keep your North Star in check and to keep you accountable?
Any what services?
Like an advisory service, or you're pretty sure on what it is?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure where I'm going, what I'm doing, how to get there. Don't always get it right, but maybe I should. I'm a good accountant, but apart from that, in terms of the recruitment stuff and what I want to do with it and who we want to be specifically, that's for me the most important thing. You can fall off track with goals and building and doing all of that, but the further you go away from who you are, the identity as a company or for me as a person, what I enjoy, the less enjoyable, the less successful I find it becomes. So the more you can keep it in line, like as you said, the billing, you asked about that. That's something, I'm not just doing it, naturally it adds money to the board, it's a lead by example thing, but I actually really enjoy it. I really enjoy adding value. One of my things I say to everybody is what we want to be is the difference that makes the difference. I want to be the person, there that if I wasn't there, there's no chance that would happen. And that gets me out of bed. I don't care whether it's a junior candidate or a senior candidate or what industry. I do all sorts, but I just like it, and it gets me out of bed, and I get the thrill of it. And really importantly for me, that keeps me in check in terms of what I'm good at, what I like, what I enjoy, and who we are as a business.
Talk to me about the recent launch of your Cork office.
Yeah, so in line with what I said, so I had no intention. I wasn't on the plan to say let's open in Cork. That's the wrong thing to do in my opinion. But I happened to meet Karen, who's a fantastic recruiter. She's a pharma contract recruiter. Been in this space for 15 years. Wasn't delighted with the trajectory in her own company. So we had several conversations. We knew we sort of got on well. Never did pharma contracting in my life, but she did. She knows the stuff. She's a very clear career goal, where she wants to go, what she wants to do, and I'm enabling that. And she's hit the ground running, knocked it out of the ballpark in the first. We're 6 months in now, going extremely well, because contracting is a hard thing to build from scratch. But
is it just her? Have you built around her?
It's just her for now. We're in the process of hiring number 2. But we'll definitely be building it out. I mean, that team will be sort of 3 or 4 certainly by this time next year. Yeah.
Plenty of talent down there.
Yeah, well, it's great, I mean, it's funny because I'm from Dublin, and you used not to be able to, if you had a Dublin accent trying to build business down there, you were in trouble, But it's wide open. There's so much market out there, but it's quite parochial like here as well, So it's kind of a who do you know.
We see a lot of pharma businesses scaling across Europe from one location. It seems like there's massive fees to be made in Amsterdam, in Berlin, in Brussels.
That's right.
And is that part of the long-term strategy?
It is, yeah. So we've a Czech office, as you know. We've 6 people over there, and what they do engineers as well. So we're not just looking at it, but we've a plan to sort of tie the two together. And sort of help Karen, and she helps the guys out over there. So Continental Europe, Switzerland, places like that.
Is there any big challenges to doing business on the continent?
No.
So it's just wide open.
no, I mean, the way to go is through your existing client base, you know. So going in cold, you're going to fall on your face more. You're going to try and figure it out. It might take you 6 months. You might go down a U-turn or a cul-de-sac, and what are we doing that for? That was a waste of 6 months. The best way to do is get a couple of clients, deliver like hell to them, and then say, hey, listen. Proactively say, listen, I know you have an office in Switzerland. Can you put me in touch with Mary over there, and get a bit of referral from that? You know, that's the way to go. That's the way to expand, because we've done a lot in the UK from here, for example, that in that exact fashion.
In the accounting and finance world?
Mostly in retail, actually. We have a retail business, so we're the leaders in retail recruitment here. So we place retail managers as sort of a second brand. It's how I started in recruitment. That's all in that space. But we have a really great team, and we're doing business with retailers over there from our retail business here. We've been referred in. Well, I say we've been referred in. You know, people don't just walk down the road and scream your name. I mean, went in, as soon as you deliver, you ask for a referral. So that's worked extremely well for us as well. But we've done it all from here, so we haven't had to be over there. We fly over for group sessions and stuff.
No temptation to put an office there?
There's an absolute temptation.
Will Brexit change that? Or?
No. I mean, no.
There's more. It's easier to get talent in the UK from a recruitment standpoint. Dublin, it's so hard.
It's chaotic because one of the things that influences that, the market, it's top of the market, but also the in-house world are just they're sucking recruiters out of the system. Offering, naturally, if you're a recruiter and you see, oh, wow, I can get 10 grand more on my basic salary. I mean, if you're a certain type of recruiter, that's very attractive. And certain types of recruiters, there's nothing wrong with it. You want a nice life. You can go in, earn money, go home. You know, and that's cool. The truth is, only X amount of people earn really well in recruitment. So you just have to make sure people see that and know that. So the way to keep people is to keep people on track with their goals. But the problem is they're getting calls all the time, not just from agencies, from in-house. So if they have a bad day and they don't know what they want, they might take that call, and all of a sudden, once you go there, you never come back. Ever.
That's an interesting one, isn't it? I've never. Well, sometimes I get internal recruiters to say, "Oh, can you move me to Australia?" And I'm like, they say, "Oh, I'd consider agency," and I'm like, "Well, they won't consider you." So, like,
and even if they do, they'll go in and they go, "No, do you know what? I'm going back."
I'm going back.
So I've seen that a couple of times, but no, I just can't see it. Well, it's just a different life. It's all good. It's a different career.
Do you think there's two different skill sets on that?
I mean, I've never worked in-house. Control, like, it could be, for me, it's my worst nightmare to be sitting there internally in a business with nowhere to go and no control over the people I'm working with. So people tell me to do stuff and I have no information. But equally, if I was in that job, I'd do what I do here, which is I wouldn't accept a job spec and go off and run and find a candidate. I'd have to sit down with that guy, ask him a ton of questions, totally get what he's looking for, get the culture, get the team, get everything, and then go off and find someone. So for me, at least from an outsider's perspective, I think it's the same skill set. You're still selling, the benefits of your clients, except it's an internal client to candidates. You're still getting a brief, getting control, putting the two together, telling a story to the candidate, the good story that you know. People, it's the 10% spec and 90% all the other stuff that makes the difference. So I mean, on paper at least, I think it's a very similar thing, except if you're a top recruiter, you get twice or three times the pay for it. And I'm not being biased.
And when you look at your North Star in terms of your strategy, what's the one thing holding you back to getting there quicker?
It's a really good question.
Because your costs are relatively low compared to your competitors. You're billing, which not all business owners are that involved in doing it. So you would take the opportunities there. We've made mistakes. So just growing is a problem, and just wanting to grow is a problem in itself. I want to grow. Don't get me wrong. But the fact of let's grow, let's. Because when you meet your peers, they say, "Oh, what's your head count now? What's your NFA?"
Yeah. But look, I'm okay. I'm cool on that. I'm sort of horizontal when it comes to that stuff. So, but I can see how that can get in the way. But no, I think it's really important to not focus on just the growth, because you lose that center piece. I mean, we had a problem about a year influence. And the problem with that was that they're having lunch with people, and all of a sudden a bit of negativity for the first time starts coming in, and then they left. But but they're still having lunch with people here, etc. So you just have, it's not going away for growth's sake and not focusing on the core stuff. But you'll always get a bad egg or whatever, but at least you're focusing on what's enjoyable. I remember I rang an ex-colleague in the UK, and he was, this is about 2 years ago, and he said he was twice the size of us. I said, Ken, you're at a perfect size. I loved it when I was that size. And he's twice as big. He said, I loved it. I was like, what are you talking about? I mean, you're twice the size. He said, I know, but it's so much fun at that time. So just the growth thing, for me anyway, it's, absolutely, we're going to grow, we're going to do it right. And if that takes, twice as long to do, but it's done right, I'm happy with that. So I'm not all about the I want to take over the world, but we're doing it right.
And given that you love the billing side, and you're on a growth trajectory, how do you make sure that everything, like the business, keeps growing in the right way when you're so focused on this? Is that about putting different layers of management in? Or?
It's not putting layers, it's reducing layers and having systems. So I kind of learned over the years, if you're coming in and you've got, right, it's all about ideas. Let's have an idea. We're recruiters, we've got great ideas. And I said, talk about these ideas, and then we're not sort of D's, as they call them, which is kind of implementers. We're sort of good starters, we talk, so we
I'm all about that.
Yeah. A lot of recruiters are, the high I's, high D's, or whatever, but they don't. So I was always like that. So now it's all about, look, what are we doing? What guarantees it gets done? So if we have an idea, what keeps it live? So we refer a recruiter idea for, people get a refer a recruiter. So that would be just an idea that will be in the dustbin 6 months because people will forget about it, right? But now we sort of, we have a marketing system that keeps that live. It's communicated every 3 months that's there. Very small example of that. So it's all about systems. So even everybody knows where they stand now. Everyone always knew where they stood, but as you get bigger, you can have cracks. But now we have a review system we have a one-to-one on a weekly basis with every consultant. Everybody does, right? It's a short meeting, but every month now we've changed it. So on a monthly basis, we focus on the bigger picture, which is goals, which is clarity on where they stand versus careers versus target. And everything is just crystal clear based on the system, not just me and my energy in the room. So reducing actually meetings, we have very few meetings, reducing all that, so everybody's just empowered. So everybody's a biller in here, there's not one manager in here. But now we have the systems that allow that to happen without having cracks, because you're right, because you can't grow. How can you stay hands-on? But I think we have that sus now. I say that now. Let's see what happens for 6 months. But I think systems and processes allow that the right one.
Core focus is to get Cork up to the next stage now from your business. Is that number one priority?
That's not number one priority. We've got a lot of great businesses here. It's definitely a key priority. Prague, we're flying in Prague.
Really?
Yeah, we're absolutely flying.
Where are you making your money in Prague? Is it in the city or it's for 3 of the businesses, it's city centre in Prague. The rest is Brno and sort of the surrounding regions. But that's going very well. We hired a couple of great recruiters in from another agency. Brilliant.
We're delighted with them. So really, if you could hold up the perfect example of a recruitment culture, that would be it. I flew over last week. It's just they go hiking together. They make us all look bad, But they've just got a real sort of good community as well as good high standards. So they sort of push each other.
What does it feel like? Because we discussed this, you're at the top of the market here. Recruiters, their expectations are through the roof because of Facebook and because of LinkedIn and Indeed. What's it like when you compare that to interviewing people in Prague, where the economy's different? Are the recruiters maybe more appreciative or? No,
Prague's unusual. Prague's actually top of the market as well. So they've had that longer than we've had it. But they don't really have career recruiters over there.
Right, okay.
So they're all 1 year, 2 year, and they get out of it. It's a bizarre sort of market, you have to really dig to find somebody who's likes and wants to stay in recruitment over there. So it's unusual. So we've been at it. But being patient, that's so important. Like you can't, and we made a mistake, I mentioned at that time, where we lost a couple of people, and I said, we got to fill that job. Let's get a recruiter. We need to get someone in. And doing that, you're blinded to, you just overlook certain things that normally, if you're in total control and you had decided, I need a really good recruiter and they have to have all these things, you're sort of overlooking certain characteristics. So I think you just have to be patient. That's why I meet a lot of people. And you've got to do that, and you've got to just be very proactive, and it comes from various sources. I mean, you've put a couple of brilliant people into us, and you don't have to be placing, I'm sure you'd like to place 10 people a year, but it's not,
they don't exist.
Exactly. So it's about the quality, and the only way to increase the amount that comes into you is by doing a lot of proactive activity, not when you need to, but all the time. And that's a process and a system. So you ask me what takes up a bit of my time. That takes up a bit of my time.
What excites you about your business the most?
Two things. I like everybody's, and other people will say this, of course, but I like being the best. I like knowing that.
I believe you, by the way.
Thanks. Very convincing. But I like knowing that, if there's anyone else on that, the client is seriously impressed. They know what I'm doing. I'm adding value. I know I'm good. I know I'm better. That's what gets me out of bed. That's what really gets. And being, as I said, the difference that makes the difference. Just having a candidate delighted, having a client delighted, knowing what you're doing, the quality that you're doing. That really excites me. That has always excited me, but it really excites me still. So that hasn't. It's end of quarter. People are in the other room, going, "What's happening, John? Come on, what's happening with that deal?" And when you have a certain culture, you build to that. I mean, during the time I mentioned about a year ago, we lost that for a while. But thankfully, you get some new blood in who want that, and it's just very exciting. It's just great to be part of. And so we're just, everyone wants to smash that target, And what is a target? It's a goal. It's an achievement. It's something that makes you feel good. It makes you feel really good about what you're doing, and it backs up everything that we're saying about world class and and all the stuff we're trying to be here.
Ken, that's us. Thank you so much.
Pleasure, dualta.
Great to finally meet you.
Likewise. Thanks a lot.